Hello and welcome to another episode of the DVD Graveyard. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at Sleepaway Camp 2 from 1988, directed by Michael Simpson. And, this is one of those standout VHS/DVD covers. When I would go to the video store, of course, it was still VHS at the time, but this is one of those standout covers that I always remember seeing on the shelf. It was one that every time I saw that, it really just kind of tripped me out, because I was like, what is this? Of course, it's the classic cover with the girl on the front with the bag on her back, and it's got the Freddy glove hanging out of it with the hockey mask and the chainsaw. And of course, I remember seeing that as a little kid and just being like, are Freddy and Jason and Leatherface in this movie? Is that what the deal is? And they do some callbacks to those films for sure, which I'm surprised that they avoided any kind of copyright stuff with that, which we'll talk about that when we get there. But I just always remember seeing this cover, and it just really tripping me out. And I actually didn't see this, of course, until many, many years later. Like I said, I saw, I think, the first one probably 5 to 6 years ago, give or take, when I got that Scream Factory Blu-ray. And then I didn't actually see this one for the first time until I got my box set, I think 2 years ago is whenever I got it. Maybe it might have even been last year. I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head, but pretty recently. Like, Sleepaway Camp is more of a new franchise for me, but as soon as I saw this movie, I absolutely fell in love with this film. It is so goofy and so campy in more ways than one, added to the fact that it takes place at a camp as well. And it is just a classic slasher film. Like, I cannot believe that this went under my radar for so long without seeing this movie. And it's absolutely one of my favorites at this point in time, especially from this franchise. And it's one I will forever probably revisit around this time of year. It always kind of puts me in the mood to watch something like this. Very fun little movie, great time. So I'm going to go ahead and read the plot synopsis off the back of this DVD. This is just another one from my Sleepaway Camp Survival Kit box set. So let's see, there's a quote on the back right here at the top from what does that say? The Psychotronic Movie Guide. This sequel has more novel ways of dying, gore, and nudity, and Springsteen even sings. 5 years after the horrific slaughter at Camp Arawak, transsexual lunatic Angela Baker, a take-no-prisoners performance by Pamela Springsteen, whose singing and guitar playing would terrify even her brother Bruce, has become a counselor at Camp Rolling Hills. But Angela is about to teach bad campers a brutal lesson in survival when these horny teens are sliced, stabbed, drilled, barbecued, chainsawed, and worse. Renee Estevez, who is the sister of Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, co-stars in this outrageously vicious sequel to the original cult hit, filled with gratuitous nudity, rampant mullets, exclusive extras, and gore galore. Welcome to Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. And then there's another quote on here from the Encyclopedia of Horror Films. This sequel is a breath of fresh air when put alongside the likes of Friday the 13th, which I could actually see that. And I think it's funny that they kind of made that very clear, like they wanted you to know that this is Bruce Springsteen's sister. So that's kind of the first thing that you'll know in this movie is, of course, they did recast the character of Angela. Now, it is supposed to still be Angela from the first film, but of course she's been recast by Pamela Springsteen, who I actually love. Pamela Springsteen in this movie. She is fantastic. I don't think they could have really picked anybody better for this role, and in the next one. But in this one, oh my God, she is fantastic. She's so sweet and kind, and she's just one of those, like, if I went to camp, she'd be probably the camp counselor that I would be running to all the time for any kind of problem, because she has this really sweet and kind of comforting kind of attitude to her, but I guess that's what makes it even more terrifying, is because her attitude, her really sweet and kind side is juxtaposed to these horrifying deeds that this woman does, because she fucks these kids up like big time in this movie. She messes them up, like, bad. And so this movie, like, I don't know if I said this already, but it takes place 5 years after the first after the events of the first Sleepaway Camp, and it takes place at a new camp called Camp Rolling Hills is what it's called. And Angela is now a counselor. And basically it starts out with somebody kind of retelling the story of the first movie. Like they're talking about Angela, the angel of death, and how she killed all these people at Camp Arawak. And we waste no time because the Angela comes to get the girl. And she gets all over the girl's ass about being, having a foul mouth and everything else. And she's walking her back, and she just kind of loses it and kills this girl in the middle of the woods and cuts her tongue out. And then that's when we get the great title card, Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. So, I mean, this one starts full force. Like, we waste no time, getting to some gruesome kills. So as we go on, like the next day, everyone's kind of wondering where this girl went. And Angela tells them, I sent her home. She was fornicating, I think is what she says. And she says that a lot in this movie, and that's what cracks me up. Is basically what this boils down to, and what Angela's motivation is if you piss her off, or you're just being human, I guess. I mean, these are teenagers, so I mean, if you're out there being a fornicator, or you're cursing, or you're just being a bad person, just in any way that she deems to be, but doing anything that she deems to be reprimandable, she's going to fucking kill you. I mean, it doesn't matter. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of the girls in this movie are being kind of shitty to a lot of the other characters in the film, mainly to the character of Molly, who's played by Renee Estevez. She's kind of the sweet one of the sweet girls that Angela kind of on Angela's good side. And so again, this whole movie just kind of follows around Angela, like going around the camp. Somebody will get on her nerves and she will kill them. And that's really kind of what goes on in this. And this is another really fun movie as far as the camp is concerned. It's much like the first movie. We have that fun. We're having a good time at the summer camp. And it's a lot more like this one. The first one obviously is a horror film, and it's more of an adult-oriented film, most definitely. But this one is big time. Like, I always thought Friday the 13th had gratuitous amounts of nudity. It has nothing on Sleepaway Camp 2. There is so much gratuitous nudity and sex in this movie. It's insane. I mean, like there's titties everywhere in this movie. And, I'm not complaining necessarily. That's not really a problem. But I'm just saying I think it's funny that there's just so much. And, I mean, they just went overboard with making this film as ridiculous as possible. It's so fun. It's just such a great movie. And I'll go ahead because there's really not much in the way of plot, like, as this movie goes on. I mean, really and truly, kind of what it boils down to, again, like I said earlier, is that we're just kind of following Angela around the camp, and she'll get mad and then kill somebody. Like, that's just kind of how we move through this movie. So I'll go ahead and talk about some of the kills. So we get that first kill where she kills the girl and cuts her tongue out. She ends up sending a girl home. Again, she kills her with a power drill. There's this crazy scene, which is why this is on the cover, where there's these three boys who are going to prank Angela. And basically one of the boys dresses up like Freddy Krueger, and then one of them dresses up like Jason. And again, how they got away with this, like copyright-wise, I have no idea. But they plan to scare her, and then of course Angela kind of pulls a fast one on him, and she comes out dressed as Leatherface, wearing one of the girls' faces, and she kills the boys with this chainsaw. And then she ends up inadvertently scaring a group of the other girls, and they just kind of laugh it off. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I was just trying to give them a taste of their own medicine," Great stuff. There's the other scene where she takes the girl. There's these two girls that are fornicating in the woods, and they're drunk and stoned. And she takes them back to, like, she keeps going back to this, like, abandoned cabin that's here, on, like, the outskirts of the camp. And she has, like, this fire pit, this grill. And the one girl wakes up, and they're sisters. But the one girl wakes up and sees her sister has been burnt to a crisp. And she's literally just a burnt skeleton sitting there on this grill. And then she screams and freaks out. Angela pours gasoline all over her, lights her on fire, and burns her to death. That's probably my favorite little interaction scene there. Like, I love that. Just, she's being so sarcastic and ridiculous. And again, Pamela Springsteen does a fantastic job in this movie. She's so funny, but really sweet at the same time. Like even when she's being mean, and she's almost like a parent, kind of getting on to you with her tone. Like that's kind of how she comes off to me in this movie. She just seems very very like a parent kind of scolding you and telling you, you shouldn't do this, except they're literally fucking lighting you on fire. There's another great scene. One of the girls in the movie who is a complete asshole to everybody. She basically ends up going back to this abandoned cabin with Angela, and Angela, like, she stabs her in the back, and then she's holding her head in this this outhouse, this old outhouse, and she keeps sticking her head down the hole in the toilet, and she's like, "What do you see down there? What do you see?" And the girl's like, "Shit," and she's like, "Yeah, just like you and your shitty mouth." And it's so damn funny, and this little woman is just being this freaking cruel, and then she ends up pushing her into the toilet, in this outhouse, and drowns her, and she dies. And that's probably my favorite kill in the movie, because it's just so freaking ridiculous. So basically, after a lot of really really good kills in this film, a lot of just crazy off the wall silly kills, and we're getting a kill like probably, I swear to God, it's like every 5 minutes somebody is dying in this movie, which is not a problem. It's a good thing. That's what makes this movie so fun. So it kind of what it boils down to is every time a kid goes missing, some of the head counselors really ask Angela, like, what happened, like what was going on, and she tells them, I sent them home because they were doing this, or I sent them home because they were fornicating with a boy, or I sent them home because I caught them drinking, or whatever. And so eventually the camp counselors kind of get tired of that, and they fire her, like the two head counselors, and she's just distraught, because all she wants to be is just this great head counselor. That she was named like counselor of the week or whatever, kind of at the beginning of the movie. So she's just heartbroken about this, but she has literally, going by what she says, she has sent almost everyone in this camp home. Like, everyone is gone. I think there's actually only there's one or two girls left, and I know she kills one of them because the girl starts to kind of catch wind of what's going on. Like, she realizes that the girls are missing, and she's called their parents and everything else, and so that one, I think she gets strangled with a guitar string. And that's a fun scene, too, where the girl's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know what could have happened to them. Like, I called their parents and da-da-da-da-da. And Angela's just, while the girl is turned away from Angela, she's brushing her hair, Angela's just looking around the cabin for just random stuff that she could use to kill this girl. It's such a funny and goofy scene. But anyway, so after all is said and done, she ends up killing the other two camp counselors, I believe. Actually, I think the one guy, I don't think she kills him yet. I think that comes a little bit later, which when I say later, it's actually pretty soon. But Angela kind of goes off and goes out into the woods, and she's crying, and like I said, she's just super upset. So the one girl, Molly, and her boyfriend, I think his name's Sean, if I remember correctly. It's Sean or John, I can't remember, but her boyfriend, they basically go out into the woods to look for Angela and see what where she's been. They kind of want to comfort her and see if they can talk to the other counselors to if they can talk them into letting her stay and keep her job. So they go out looking for her, and when they get to this abandoned cabin, they go inside the cabin, and all these dead bodies from every camper are just littered around this cabin. And that to me is so freaking creepy. Like, for some reason, like, this whole set at the end of the movie with this abandoned cabin and all the dead bodies, and just the fact that she's been going there this whole time and leaving all these dead bodies, it's just very creepy. Just to me, for some reason, I don't know why, but once they get in there, she knocks those two unconscious, and she like ties them up. And after they wake back up, one of the other counselor guys, he comes to like try to find them and to stop Angela, and he she takes his car battery, which was stolen earlier in the movie, and throws battery acid in the guy's face, which basically kills him right then and there, from what I remember. And then, of course, the two of them wake up, and Sean, the boyfriend, he wakes up and he is immediately like decapitated. She kills him right away, and so one way or the other, I think Molly somehow knocks Angela out, if I'm not mistaken. And she takes off and she runs off into the woods, and Angela chases after her. Um, and then I don't really remember. I think Angela kills I think she kills some more of the counselors, or I'm sorry, some more of the campers, if I'm not mistaken. I can't really remember because the end of it is so quick, and like and this whole movie is pretty quick. I mean, it's very short. I think it's like 79 minutes. So I mean, it is super short. I mean, this is a good kind of throw this on, and it's gonna fly right by. I mean, you're not really gonna blink and you miss it, to be honest with you. So, what I do remember, though, is that Molly gets away, and Angela hitches a ride with this woman that's in a truck, and she's, of course, planning on leaving the camp, I guess, before police and stuff are able to get there. And when she's in the truck, you can tell this lady is just really getting on Angela's last nerve, just the way she's talking. The lady's in there like, no skin off my tits, and then she lights up a cigarette, and Angela's, would you please crack a window? And you can tell just like that whole tone that Angela has, she's getting irritated and she's getting really pissed, and she's going to kill this lady, and of course she does. She ends up killing the woman, and she takes her truck, and then of course we meet back up with Molly, who is just kind of walking down the road, and this truck kind of comes up behind her, and Molly turns around because she thinks she's safe. She's gonna go hitch a ride with this person, and so she goes back to the truck, and of course it's Angela in there wearing the lady's hat. The lady was wearing this cowboy hat, and she just she's like, "Howdy, partner," and just as polite and sweet as ever. And then of course Molly screams, and we roll credits, and that is Sleepaway Camp 2: Unhappy Campers. Like I said, I feel like I kind of blew through this one a little bit, to be honest with you, but that's honestly how the movie feels. Like, the movie is so fast, and like I said, you put it on and it's almost like it's immediately over because it's so entertaining. Like, this is absolutely, I think I said this in my first in my first Sleepaway Camp review, but this is my favorite out of the entire franchise. I'd have to revisit Return to Sleepaway Camp to really get a good opinion on that, but I don't really see it surpassing Sleepaway Camp 2. This movie is so much fun. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite 80s slashers. This, of course, came towards the end of the 80s, but it has that really nice, like, 1988 feel. Like, I don't know why, but late 80s slasher films all kind of, I don't really want to say they feel the same, but they kind of all have this vibe to them that I can't really explain, but it is in full force in this movie, and I love it. I mean, this is just such a fun, entertaining, crazy, bizarre, gory movie, and we get some excellent kills. I mean, I don't even know how many kills are in this movie. It's quite a few. So I just paused so that I can look this up. There are 18 kills in this movie. It doesn't really feel like there's 18 of them, to be honest with you, but that's what I saw whenever I looked it up. There's 9 men and 9 women that get killed in this movie, so at least there is equal opportunity in there, I guess. Just this movie is such a great time. This one, like I said, is one that I will always see myself going back to around this time of year because it really has a really nice, like I said, late spring, kind of early summer vibe. I revisit this one. I've definitely watched this one more than I watched the first one at this point, and I've only had it for maybe 2 years, but ever since the first time I saw it, I just fell in love with this movie. It really reminded me of something like Slumber Party Massacre 2, just how goofy and crazy and wild that movie is. It really reminded me of that movie, and honestly, I think that would make a really good pairing piece to watch, together. Like, again, if you're wanting to do a double feature, because I love double features. I love watching two movies from different series or two completely different movies that kind of pair together well. And I feel like this movie and that movie pair up pretty well. Just like the first one, I think pairs up pretty good with something like Friday the 13th. And that one definitely has a lot more of a serious tone. The first one does, whereas this one is straight up like black comedy. I mean, there's even the scene where they're playing this game where they're reaching into a box and the girl reaches in. She's like, "What's that?" And she's like, "Dead teenagers' brains," is what Angela says. And she's like, "Oh, well, what did you use to make them?" She said, "Dead teenagers' brains." And it's just such a little quick moment in the movie, and just the way that Angela's like, I bet she's in the woods fornicating, and then she goes out and kills the girl. Like, it's so fucking funny. And Pamela Springsteen does a fantastic job. I mean, I don't think that she comes back in any besides Sleepaway Camp 3. I know she's in that one, and I like her in Sleepaway Camp 3, but I think she's much better in this one. I just think she has a lot better dialogue, and her demeanor seems a lot better in this movie, whereas in the third one, honestly, the whole third movie, I think, tries to recreate kind of what made this movie so good. It just being kind of straightforward. You're getting a kill, like I said, every 5 minutes or so. And Sleepaway Camp 3 is good. I mean, I like it, to be honest with you. I just think that it's probably, out of this original trilogy, it's probably the weakest, from what I recall. Like I said, haven't watched Return to Sleepaway Camp in a long time, but I do not remember enjoying it near as much as I've enjoyed, this one and Sleepaway Camp 3, and the first one, of course. So in my mind, there only exists the trilogy, Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if Pamela Springsteen was really happy to have this role, or if she looks back on it fondly. Like, for example, I know that Renee Zellweger will not talk about being in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation, or just like the actress Shannon Elizabeth, who was in Jack Frost. I've heard that she kind of tries to put distance between her and the movie, specifically Jack Frost, which I don't ever get, because I'm like, you did the damn thing. You've obviously risen above that movie, and you've had a career since then. So I mean, like, what's the deal? Just embrace it. I don't know if Pamela Springsteen kind of feels that same way about this role, or if she embraces it. I'd like to think she embraces it, because she does such a fantastic job. If anybody knows, feel free to leave a comment below, like I said, because she did such a fantastic job. So anyway, like I said, that was Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. Excellent movie. I highly recommend this to anybody who just wants to watch a really goofy, cheesy, straightforward, violent, gory, and I don't know if I already said funny, but funny slasher film. This one, like I said, definitely sits on my list of probably favorite slasher movies of the 80s, for sure. This was so much fun, and it definitely is the standout in the series to me, 100%. I cannot recommend this movie enough. So anyway, I hope everyone has enjoyed this review. Stay tuned for the next episode. We got Sleepaway Camp 3. Teenage Wasteland is coming pretty shortly. So, as always, have a great night. Goodbye.